heard someone say something interesting on Instagram today. They were talking about how their weight loss journey didn't really change until after they finally did it to better their life instead of just to hate on a version of themselves that they didn't like. And there's a degree of truth in that. There's a huge degree of truth in that. I spent my entire life hating myself for being bigger than the average. And it was only once I allowed myself to like myself that I ended up finding the ability to actually make myself better. In the beginning of 2022, I realized that I needed to, stop limiting myself. I needed to stop torturing myself for the weight loss. I started allowing myself to get stronger. I ate the same amount of calories while also eating more protein, eating more, getting nutrients into my diet instead of just trying to hold off on eating and inevitably crashing and eating a bunch of cookies and chips. What I instead chose to do at the beginning of 2021 was uh, just up the nutrients in the amount of food I was already eating, and with that came more energy. With that came an ability to do more than I could have done before. I wasn't so malnourished, and yes, you can be malnourished while you're as gigantic as me. I'm not malnourished calorie wise by no means. But yeah, I was malnourished, nutrient wise. And, I wasn't drinking enough water and I wasn't being active enough and getting the, nutrients into my body that allowed me to be happier, more B12 into my body, more fiber to get a more regular schedule, with the output, and getting just more protein into my body to start building muscle and being more happy, getting iron so that I could stand up more, getting calcium for stronger bones. Just getting all those better nutrients into my body allowed me to get out there and start working out. And that was what 2021 was all about. I worked out a ton. I went to the gym every single day, and I did legs and stuff and arms and that. And then end of 2021, I was like, I'm down quite a lot. I want to focus more on the calorie side of it. So 2022 has been all about, decreasing my calorie load and losing a lot of the fat. Now that I'm, liking myself, now that I'm giving myself the nutrients I need, now that I'm, finding a healthier way to do things that makes me happier, that allows me to be more awake in my own body, I am able to focus on calories and stuff. I think a lot of the reason that people eat so much is because they're not eating nutrient rich foods. Their body isn't satisfied because they know that they're not getting everything they have. So, like, you can eat like 1,000 Oreos and you won't get the same amount of nutrients that you get from, a big old thing of, assorted vegetables and meats. You can eat like so many calories and you just won't fuel your body right, and then your body's looking out there, is looking to snuff more, and you can maybe gain some semblance of nutrients from a chemical rich, sugar snack, but you need to eat a lot of it, and that's where the body comes in and starts looking for stuff. And in order to get yourself away from that addiction, in order to get yourself away from that, you need to actually give your body what it needs. It needs the vitamin D. It needs you to be active. It needs you to get out there and do other things. And a lot of the part where self-love comes into it is getting out there and getting, love from other people, but of course, love from your surrounding area. It may not seem like it, but there are things to do in your area. There are parks, there are trails, there are bars even. You don't have to drink a whole lot. You can just get one beer and drink that throughout the night and just use it as an excuse to party. Get out there, do more. I watched a video years ago about a guy talking about things that helped him lose weight, and it was getting out of the house more is the one thing that stuck with me from that video. Because if you're out and about in the world, you're nowhere near your kitchen cabinets and you can't just like go and grab a bunch of stuff. There's also the food restaurants out there and all the grocery stores, and you just walk in, grab yourself a sandwich. But that's like just more money, and you're spending that money, and you're already spending the money on being out there. So I don't know, it just puts one extra barrier in between you and just endlessly snacking, and also allows you to be more physically active. I know in most cities there are walking groups that you can join up with. You look on Facebook, you look on Twitter, you can find, really great walking groups, running groups, cycling groups. You can go to a climbing gym. I know my city, it's a relatively small city and it's got a climbing gym. And once I get strong enough to lift my own body weight, I'm going to join it and it's going to be fun. There's a bit of community there. So I want to get out there. I want to do that. And there are places to rent kayaks in places with a lot of water. You can rent a kayak, or you could buy a kayak. Kayaks really aren't that expensive. I saw one for $300 on Facebook Marketplace not too long ago, and I was like, wow, that's pretty good. Um, yeah, getting out there, being social more, being away from your home just takes you further away from the cabinets, and that also influences a more positive self outlook. I've heard people talk about addiction in a way that it is a result of loneliness, a result of not having that community around you. And if you go out there and you meet more people, you're going to have a community, and you're not going to be so reliant on food for a flow of dopamine. You're like a rat stuck in a cage, and it's got a button that it presses over and over again that makes it a little sicker, but it also shoots it up with dopamine. And that's what we're doing. We're just putting brownies and cupcakes in our mouth because that's what gives us the dopamine. But if you got people around you, if you're hearing jokes all the time, if you're making jokes, if you're hugging people, if you're like giving high fives, playing football, if you're doing all that stuff with people, you're kayaking with people, if you're playing Monopoly with people, you're not going to need all that snacking because, well, your body needs food to live, but it just doesn't, it knows it doesn't need 1,000 Oreos. It just knows that what it needs is, it wakes you up a little more too. I've been watching videos lately about how COVID affected a lot of people in a very negative way. It withdrew them from society for quite a while, and they lost a lot of their social skills. And that's something that can happen with your brain. You lose the ability to socialize, you lose some of your thought process. There's actually a physically noticeable difference in the way a brain is shaped when they spend a lot of time away from people, locked in their bedroom or whatever. And, they lose a lot of themselves and they sort of disassociate. And there's a big thing that comes with that. If you're disassociated, it's harder to get a hold of it. A lot of people have been reviewing my recent videos lately, and saying that I probably have binge eating disorder and like some kind of dissociative thing, and where I don't realize I'm eating, and I don't know if that's true or not, but uh, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like, what? What are you, a doctor? What? But yeah, if that's how it works, like you're disassociated, you can see how that can lead to um, definitely some really bad pattern of eating. You could really screw yourself up. I mentioned in that video that people were reviewing that I kind of had this moment, this sudden wake up moment, years into getting fatter, that I was like so unbelievably fat, and I didn't realize before. And I tried to rip the fat off my body. I've talked about that before. And you know what? Maybe I was disassociating during that time. I don't think I'm still disassociating. Sometimes I disassociate. I can feel myself getting number, but I gotta like pull myself out of it, meditate a little, sort of wake myself up, slap myself in the face. But yeah, there's all sorts of different ways that loving yourself and treating yourself better and going out and being more active can help you lose weight, and that's an important thing. People always say abs are made in the kitchen, but being out there in the gym, being out there being social, being out there running marathons, that all helps your brain engage more and helps you make smarter decisions in the kitchen. So as much as abs are made in the kitchen, a big part of making good choices in the kitchen is being active, and that's an important thing. And if you're super heavy and you're tired all the time and you can't lift your body up for very long, how are you going to cook yourself a nutritious meal, right? How are you going to find the time to do that if you're like the whole time? You gotta just go up and grab whatever you can from the cupboards, snacks and stuff, and that's not good. So yeah, getting healthier, building up that muscle, building the ability to stand up for longer also helps you cook for yourself, make more nutritious meals, and that's important too. There's all sorts of stuff about it. There's all sorts of stuff. So just like try to be more active, try to like have physical activity and stuff. And maybe you can go like me. Bruh, this is so. What even is this? It's all loose. It's jigglier than it used to be. When it's all full up, it like bounces back immediately and doesn't have the ripples. What's that?